ahead and get into it. So obviously during this panel, Nancy Grace has been a part of this series with TMZ for a while when it comes to the Diddy trial. And Harvey, thank God, had to bring Nancy Grace up here and had to give Joe Tacopina, my guy, another chance to just absolutely cook her, and deservingly so, because she was so loud and wrong about this case. Didn't see it from the jury's perspective, and that's why she's in the position that she's in. Let's hear what she has to say. Hold on to your seats. This is going to be fun.
Brian Andrews, our TMZ producer, was in the courtroom for most of the trial. Brian, what was the reaction like?
Shout out to Brian. We're going to skip ahead, though.
Lots of twists and turns.
Okay, well, the person I want to hear from, who we have talked to many times, is Nancy Grace. And
Harvey, I'm gonna bow out and let you and Nancy and Co take it from here. Thank you so much.
Thanks, Ebony. Appreciate it. Nancy.
Ebony said, Nancy?
Did you see it coming?
No, I did not see it coming. I believed Cassie Ventura completely. I felt that there was a good cross-exam of her, especially as it relates to text. But having dealt with battered women,
oh my God,
horribly battered women to the point where it is a felony by the time I would get a hold of it, and having dealt with aggravated assault and violent rapes for my entire legal career,
here we go.
I understood. I don't think that the jury understood, and that's not the jury's fault. I don't think they got the concept of how when women are domestic abuse victims, and I hate to even say domestic abuse because it sounds like a Hallmark movie, all cozy and domestic, right? It's not. It's horrible. It's like the photos that you're not showing right now, by the way, of Cassie with a fat lip, Cassie with a gash over her eye where she had to have plastic surgery.
Oh, can we also show the videos of Cassie on the yacht dancing with Diddy? Can we also show Cassie and Alex Fine laughing to the bank when she's cashing her $20 million check? Can we also show Cassie texting Diddy and being like, please take me back. I want to, you know what? Hey, yo. Can we show all of that? Nancy, are we going to be fair? Or are we just going to take one side of it? Because unfortunately in this case, Cassie's not just a victim, although a victim she is. Overall, there's a lot more to the story. We can't just focus on the one thing that wasn't charged in this case that could be proven beyond a reasonable doubt. It's time to move on.
Cassie with bruises all the way down her back and side that were, you know, impinging on her internal organs. That video of her being kicked when she was down. And, you know, I mentioned this to you before in a different context. I've been on a million murder scenes. I've been to the morgue, you name it. But there's always something in every case that turns the knife. And for me, there were two moments, and it was both related to Cassie and this
Better
trial.
not say DV.
And one is part of that video, which you're now showing as you're all thrilled and celebrating and rubbing baby oil on each other like they did outside the courthouse tonight. Toward the end of that video, Harvey, there was a point where Sean Combs went after Cassie again. She's right-handed, and she was holding her face with this hand, I think, and holding up her non-dominant left hand to try to stop Combs from beating her. And it was so futile. She couldn't. That moment, and then the other moment was when she was being beaten badly, and everybody was just standing around, and Combs lifted up a liquor glass, and held it up. She's down on the ground. He's standing over her.
Everybody was just standing
held it up
around.
to throw it at her face, and she looked at everybody and went, "Can't you see what's happening?" And nobody did anything. And as far as I'm concerned, the jury can cook in the same pot. They did nothing. Now, I know you're going to not agree with me, but that's what I think.
Well, But I guess, you know, I just do have a question about that. That
What is she talking
I hear
about?
I hear what you're saying about domestic abuse, but this is something that we have been hearing a lot about for 30 years. That Stockholm syndrome and domestic violence and lots of men going to jail and prison for it. That's been around now for a long time. So, and I'm
it's
not
been
even
abused,
challenging you on this. I'm just wondering, how could 12 people, 4 of whom are women, all unite in a case like this and be so clueless about what you're talking about?
I don't know that, but I do know this.
Because they got
And
it right.
We know about it because we're in the crime world. Regular people, and they can be brilliant, like the one juror is a PhD in microbiology or something like that. Brilliant people, okay? They can be brilliant, but if you are not familiar with criminals, if you don't understand how their mind works, that, you know, Harvey, when you walk around Central Park and you see a little squirrel hop across your path, a little rabbit maybe, you might be tempted to pet it or throw it a treat. Is your instinct to grab it and tear its neck out with your teeth? No, because you don't think like an animal. You have a conscience, or at least I think you do.
Thank you.
So my point is,
Why does she
they
insult
don't
people for no
think
reason?
like we think. And I know everybody's going to get all
Thank
crazy
God.
about this, but Combs does not care about these people. He doesn't care about the people outside the courthouse that were
It's not against the law.
chanting and screaming and celebrating and squirting baby oil.
Can I ask y'all a question? I've been meaning to ask this. At what point did Diddy start putting his hands on Cassie? What does the evidence show? Was it day 1? Was it day 2? Was it day 3, 4, 5, 6, 10? Was it day 1,000? Because everyone wants to focus on these instances that we're pointing to, whether it was 2, 3, 5, or 30. At what point did that start? Because I know for a fact, viewing the evidence in this case and the facts of this case, that Cassie wanted to be with Diddy for certain reasons. Cassie got what she was with Diddy for. And at what point did this Stockholm syndrome or did all of this abuse start to affect her mind, and then she started making decisions? Didn't she have freak-offs before Diddy even touched her? Wasn't she participating in certain activities before all this? So yeah, we can focus on this one point, but it's leaving out and you're missing the entirety of this case. It's wrong.
On each other and celebrating. They mean nothing to him. Nothing. They are pawns in his game, just like these women were. I think one thing that's important is that Sean Combs raised his hand up while his lawyer was trying to make arguments to the judge about an appeal bond, which, as you know, Harvey, because you're a lawyer, practically never happens. It's basically after you get a jury to say guilty, you go, hey, can we get out now? Can we go home now? Yeah, no. But during that argument at the end of the day, and I'm pulling up a quote right now that the judge said to them, and this is as Combs, it's like, psst, psst, over here. Quote, you full-throatedly, in your closing argument, told the jury there was violence. Domestic violence is violence. You conceded that in your closing when he denied the appeal bond. So while everybody's out celebrating outside the courthouse that Sean Combs is coming home tonight, he ain't. He's going to jail,
Okay.
and I hope he stays there.
I got to say, Joe, that's compelling that the defense itself told the jury this guy was violent and even monstrous. I mean, that is, that's a hard thing to argue.
He is, and if the defense doesn't do that, they lose credibility. So it was the right thing to say, because there's no question. Look, what Nancy said was really moving. If he was on trial for domestic violence, and if he was on trial for being a bad person, All those things are check proven. He was on trial for racketeering enterprise corruption and is on trial for sex trafficking. Not proven, not close. 12 people. And I want people, Nancy, you know, I know you have to do your thing, but when you criticize and
I don't have to do anything, Tacopina. I don't have to do anything.
Where's your little Tootsie Roll,
I'm
Nancy?
doing what I think is right.
Wrong about this case. You could have been more
I'm not
wrong
getting
about this case,
paid
but
to
you
go into
haven't been in
court and
courtroom.
represent
You haven't been
some
in courtroom in decades,
perv,
Nancy. In
like
decades.
defense
Yeah,
attorneys do. I'm
okay.
doing what I
I
believe
love
is
this.
right.
Okay, so those jurors who gave
Shout out
6
to
weeks
Joe.
of their lives, stepped out of their lives and did something that only maybe military service is more of a community calling, did that, watched every second of evidence. You didn't even sit there for 1 minute of evidence. So don't tell me that the juries are screwed up and that's horrible to say.
Cooker, Joe.
Made a sacrifice.
That's not what I
They came
said.
to a conclusion. What you did,
Oh,
they said they were in
please,
the
that's
same
not what
pot.
I said, but go
You
ahead.
didn't
If
say
that
they were in
makes
the
you feel
same
better,
pot?
go for it.
They weren't in the same pot? They weren't in the same pot? You didn't say that?
I said that I do not believe that the jury mocking me means nothing to me. Go ahead. You just look like an
Oh,
idiot.
I know. You wouldn't mock anybody,
I
Nancy.
said
You're
I
so-
do not
you're so
believe the
classy.
jury understands.
Go ahead.
I do not believe the jury understands the
The mind of a
mindset
criminal.
of women that are used to being beaten and
Oh
raped
my
in a
gosh.
consistent pattern, where you
Domestic
basically
violence,
just
Nancy,
lay down
that's
and
not
take.
what this case was. Again,
I don't believe they get it.
To respect, that's not what this case was. You're right about
Oh,
that,
I'm
Nancy.
sorry. Isn't sex trafficking by force, fraud, and coercion? Wasn't that count too? Oh,
That was,
it is, and
but
it's count
that would
4.
require no
So
consent,
force,
Nancy. So
coercion.
That's not what the jury
what that
found.
is.
That's not
An
what the jury
ass
found.
beating is
An ass
coercion.
beating is not, no, Nancy, that's domestic violence. The jury, it's a very high standard. If you ever read the charge on sex trafficking, you should take a look at it one day. It's a very high standard. It's force, coercion, physical, all these different things that have to happen without consent.
Yes.
There's evidence in this trial of consent. Period.
Tons
End of story. No
of
matter what
evidence.
you say, 12 people from the community, different walks of life, women, men, all
I know
different
that.
types of people said not guilty. They didn't buy
I know
it.
that.
They just didn't buy it. So
You know, I don't
Okay.
think that Cassie's
No, Ashley, sorry. Shout out to Ashley. We ain't doing it. Joe is the man, and he's 1000% right. Joe understands the people and how we think. Nancy's just yelling at the clouds, say they don't understand. You can say that about any case you think didn't give you a favorable verdict. The jury understood the assignment. They saw the evidence, as Joe said. For 6 weeks, they sat there. They watched the video. Guys, they have seen more than Nancy has said. And you want to say they don't understand? What? They saw what happened. They heard the text messages. Let me know what y'all think about this in the comments and in the chat.